one game away. Blow up. We're playing for something, man. We're playing for something. It's gotta mean something to you. It gotta mean something. Everything you got. Everything you got. Let's finish this.
Do it, fellas.
Let's go.
Let's do it, fellas.
Finish 2-3. 1, 2, 3. Finish.
You view this season as a failure?
Oh my God. Okay, because I'm not that up. You asked me the same question last year, Eric. Okay. Do you get the promotion every year on your job? No, right? So every year you work is a failure. Yes or no? No. Every year you work towards something, towards a goal, right? Which is to get a promotion, to be able to take care of your family, to be able, I don't know, provide the house for them or take care of your parents. You work towards a goal. It's not a failure. It's steps to success.
You ready to make history? Come on now. Yeah. You know, there's these two words. And when I say them, people get goosebumps cause they know what happens next. So without further ado,
free smoke.
Look, scared cause I'm drowning in silence with bad thoughts. These days I don't have nothing to say, man, the bag talks. I put in headphones on my driver. Pull up to the spot and give a good dick and Godiva. I can't lie, I'm uninspired. No more pillow talking about nonsense. I only stick around to put some band-aids on my conscience. I don't know why I feel so bad, nigga. That's what we do, no foundation. We don't build no more, we just screw. Half a bottle of Henny, girl, I'm going with the wind. The same niggas say they happy for me, ain't want me to win. So I'm done on my friends. Don't need help popping Coronas and reminiscing. I just call up Big Bro J and say it's time for venting. If I live forever, I hold this hate for some centuries. You don't know how much or how you doing what it meant to me, but motherfuck all that. I don't even offer up the time to make the call back. Stupid Lodo, if they don't get the picture now, man, I crop them out of the photo. I can't relate to my peers. Been doing this shit for years. I'm motivated by fears. I took the wheel and I steer. My sound not dictated by fuck boys in Atlanta. Stay gifted like this album was ghost written by Santa Bars forever, like they decided to throw me under Slammer. Every song's a hit like they picture me underhanders. I could drop a million songs, but they never gon' understand us. Soapbox sermons for niggas never giving chances. Fight our whole lives to get these weak ass advances. Work twice as hard for the shit that they getting handed. And this ain't even nothing we chose, nigga, we branded. Still can't tell why all of these niggas mad at me. I'm trying to get 100 so I can put my team on salary. Give it all to the art, man, I turn my life to a gallery. Man, damn, what a fucked up masterpiece. 1100 shots and I swear, man, I felt them all. If we ain't even good on our block, man, who can we call? Pre-decline state of mind, we broke crabs in the barrel. Got us fighting our folk, man, this shit just a life of peril.
Winning has a price. And leadership has a price. So I pull people along when they didn't want to be pulled. I challenge people when they don't want to be challenged.
Yo! My bad for yelling right there, bro. A little hyper right there, you know what I'm saying? But listen, how dope was the day, bro? How are we doing on this hot-ass Saturday? Hot-ass Saturday. When Otis Redding was sitting on the dock of the bay watching the tides roll away, or watching the tides roll in, how hot you think it was? Sitting in the morning sun, I'll be sitting when the evening comes, watching the ships roll in, and I watch them roll away again. I'm just gonna sit on the dock of the bay, watching the tides roll away. Ooh, that's that vibe, bro. That's that. What the fuck was that? That's that good music. Listen to me, bro. I hope everybody having a great day. I know somebody who not having a great day, or at least wasn't yesterday, and that's my guy Ja Morant. We here to talk about 25 game suspension for Ja Morant. The suspension has come down. If you have lived under a rock for the last couple of weeks or just don't pay too much attention to the NBA news or whatever, Ja Morant was caught on video once again brandishing a firearm. It was the second time he had done it since March. Ja Morant done got in a lot of trouble. He done been under investigation from the NBA for like a year and a half, it feel like. so many different incidents with Ja Morant. And so basically the video is, do I agree with the 25-game suspension? Was it right? Blah, 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 all that good shit. I mean, I guess it was a good suspension. I'm not going to say it was too little, because I would never say it was too little for the simple. Well, if they did less than 20 something games, I probably would say it. But bro, this is the thing. Stupidity should be punished. It's just no two ways around it. I hear everybody trying to make excuses for Ja Morant, trying to enable Ja Morant. And I really hate when people do certain type of enabling, because sometimes it's not even that you trying to defend Ja Morant. You just trying to get your own personal vendettas and thoughts off. And you just using Ja Morant as your shield to do so, or your vessel to do so. And that's just not, I hate when people do that. I'm seeing so many morons talk, oh, it's nothing illegal about what Ja Morant. And this is why most of you will remain broke forever. When you work for certain industries, when you work for certain companies, when you making certain type of money, it's certain type of shit you can and cannot do. It's not that hard. If I told you right now, I'd give you $1 million+ contract. All you cannot do is brandish weapons on Instagram Live, Facebook Live. All you can't go around doing is looking like a bad example. That's not hard to do. I'm not telling you can't play with firearms in the personal, in your own privacy. I'm just saying don't brandish it on different type of social medias. Don't try to look like this is something that's cool. That's not hard. So the fact that it's a lot of people out here enabling Ja, oh, he didn't do nothing wrong, there's nothing illegal about. You people are goofs. You are absolute goofs. It's really no two ways around it. Now, I agree with the 25-game suspension. I think it was right on the head. It's about it's about a quarter, a little bit more than a quarter of the season. He won't be, and the reason I don't think it's bad that it was, like, I hear some people saying it should have been more than 25 games. I don't agree with that. If you look, I think this is a sweet spot. It was no principle or no history of somebody doing what Ja Morant did, so you don't really know how to punish that exactly, other than conduct detrimental to the league. Even though every situation ain't the same situation, as Pat McAfee done said multiple times, situations are situational. This was a situational situation. So I agree with the 25 games. The reason I agree with the 25 games is because I do believe, I said it before, if you're going to punish somebody, you need to let them know the punishment need to be severe enough so where they don't do this again. Ja Morant immediately did it again because 8 games wasn't enough. Letting him check himself into some mental hospital was not good enough. So it's terms to him coming back and yada, yada, yada. But I'm not here to talk about that. The 25 games. He is not eligible for any major NBA awards. First team, second team, third team, all NBA, all-star games, awards for the season, like MVP, defensive player of the year, sixth man of the year. He can't win none of those awards, meaning his contract, his money will now officially be affected. He didn't get any of those awards last year, which affected his ability to get a max contract. He won't be able to get them this year, which will affect his ability to get a max contract. If Ja Morant don't learn from this, I don't want to say it's hopeless, but it could be in one of those situations. Now, I'm very interested in this Ja Morant thing. I done said what I had to say about his suspension. I agree with it. I think it's because of the circumstances around it, I do believe this is a severe enough punishment where Ja Morant will learn his lesson. And Ja Morant's still a young dude, so I'm not going to get on here and scold Ja Morant, but I'm also not going to use that as the excuse. I do believe Ja Morant really is just at that age where, bro, I was Ja Morant's age at one time. I'm only 29. I was Ja Morant, 21, 22, 23? Bro, I know how easy it is to be influenced by everything around you, bro. Even if you didn't come from that type of environment, when you start hanging with dudes who in that type of, I understand what it is. However, I also never had an opportunity at this moment to sign a contract for what Ja Morant signed for. I imagine that would change a lot of things for me if that happened. My mentality, things that I chose to do, I wouldn't do certain things. So I'm not using him being young as an excuse. You wasn't young when you signed. I mean, you were still young when you signed that contract. You were still young when you got to the NBA, and that wasn't the problem. So we can't, not hold him accountable Plus, come on, man. Ja Morant at the age where he know right from wrong. He understand he got a image to uphold, and he understand regardless if he want to be one, he is a role model to kids. It just is what it is. That's the position you take up when you decide to become a NBA player or a professional athlete. It just is what it is. For certain professional athletes, you know you're going to be on a big enough stage where kids going to want to be like you. And I just don't want Ja Morant to continuously fuck up the money that he making. I hate it when dudes come from struggle. And even if you don't, when you can put your people in a better situation, I hate it when you blow that by doing just stupid shit. So I do hope Ja Morant learn from this. But I want to have a conversation real quick. Because, you know, the more and more I look at this Ja Morant situation, the more irritated I get with it. Because I see how the media and how so many people in the media is so hard on Ja Morant, right? But where was this when Johnny Manziel was in the NFL? Because I'm seeing people, like, for the people who wanted to defend Ja Morant, I'm not defending this gun shit. But I do want to point out, where was this type of vitriol? And I know Colin Cowherd wasn't the big Johnny Manziel fan. But for most people, it was, oh, he young, he having fun. You threw up the little money thing. It was all cool. And then he partied himself out of the league. But every time something happened to him, it was enablers coming to his defense. Oh, y'all being too hard on Johnny. And Johnny Manziel ain't nowhere near the player at his position that Ja Morant is at his position. And that just, it's funny to me. Because when a black athlete make a mistake, or when they take a veer left or right, you blast it all over ESPN, all over FS1, all over Twitter. And I see a bunch of people coming out to judge him, talking about they a bad person, they this, they that. Where is this same type of heat for these white athletes who do the same shit? It's crazy to me how a black athlete cannot make a mistake. But white athletes can continue to just fuck up left and right. And I don't see the same vitriol. And it's weird. It's why I always bring up the fact that last year, Jalen Hurts had a great season. But I saw so many white analysts get on TV and say, it's the people around him. It's the talent around him. You've never seen Joe Burrow since his championship year in college play with no talent around him. Yet, every time I hear about Joe Burrow, he carrying the Bengals. He dragging a lonely Bengals around. When the Bengals got one of the best rosters in the NFL. With by far the best receiving core in football. Don't matter how many times they try to dumb down Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins' use. Those are stud number one type receivers. If you don't believe me, for one, you just don't watch the Bengals. Two, go back and watch the playoff game they lost against Mahomes last year. Every single one of those big time receivers had big time spots in that game. But it's not the receivers. It's Joe Burrow. This racial ridiculous bias that y'all know it's happening and just don't give a damn, or y'all just don't know it's happening because you just don't pay attention. But this is ridiculous because, like I said, I done seen so many bro, when Riley, whatever his last name for the Eagles, was walking around saying the N-word with the hard ER, where was this vitriol? Because I know that Dez Bryant got flamed when it was time for him to get a contract extension. I know Deshaun Jackson got flamed when it was time for him to get a contract extension. I know Lamar Jackson continuously getting flamed when it's time for him to get paid. But I'm looking at all these other dudes, the shortcomings, because now I'm past just when an athlete get into trouble compared to when a white athlete I'm breaking down a whole ridiculous machine at this moment. Sports has been so racist throughout the years, and it's never brought up for some reason. And when it is brought up, white men are quick to tell you, why you always bringing up race? You know, I work with this dude at work. He a white dude. I'm not going to tell you his name. And he liked to mess with this Mexican dude I work with. I'm not going to tell you his name. And he liked to call him little Mexican boy and all these other racial terms. And I snapped on him. I ain't really snap on him, but I came up to him and was like, yo, You call him that shit in front of me, because he had never called him that in front of me before. But people kept telling me, my homeboy kept telling me, like, yo, you hear what bruh say to thing? And I'm like, no, what'd he say? So one day he came into the truck and actually said it. And I spazzed on him. I was like, yo, you say that shit again in front of me, bro, and see what happened. Couple days later, he come into my truck randomly and was like, yo, man, I always think you mad at me because, and I was like, bro, just don't say racist shit around me, bro, and you good. I said point blank period. And then we had this whole conversation about how he don't see color and how there's no such thing as color. We all just people and yada, yada, yada. I'm trying to tell y'all, man, the more and more y'all say that ignorant shit, the more and more y'all let your racist show. I mean, point blank period. Ja Morant did mess up. Ja Morant will probably mess up again because we are human beings. That's what we tend to do. No matter the money that's involved, we seem to make dumbass decisions. Shout out to the human beings that have figured out a way to steer clear and understand how to beat their impulses. Because that's what it is a lot of time. Impulsive decisions lead to, you know, some off the wall shit at times. However, I don't like how hard I see people go at these African American, people of color, athletes of color every time they make a mistake. But every time, and it was just so funny when I saw the Ja Morant one, because I'm like, man, Ja Morant remind me of something. And then it just clicked. Johnny Manziel. A guy who y'all watched act the fucking fool. And it was just Johnny being Johnny. That's just how Johnny is. And then Johnny drunken partied himself out of the league. So it's cool that people want to help Ja Morant. But where was this help for these white athletes who be wilding out? Where this same type of media coverage and vitriol for those type of athletes? And then, like I said before, let's just keep it going. When you break down all these other situations and all these other, like in the NFL, how people so quick to go. And I will never understand for the life of me how Lamar Jackson get held to a certain standard that Baker Mayfield was never held to. And that was the first pick in the fucking draft. I don't get it. I don't get how you can look at Lamar and see what he do for the Ravens and come away saying that's a bad quarterback. But then you go over there, look at the Bengals and see all that talent and say Joe Burrow is better than Pat Mahomes. It's a wild reality we live in. And the sports media is so heavily based in racial bias, it's ridiculous. And am I sitting here telling you that every white analyst in sports media is racist? Absolutely not. That's ridiculous. That makes no sense. Some of the best analysts I've seen is white analysts. Rachel Nichols, I will always support. One of the best NBA analysts I've ever seen, or commentators, whatever you want to call it. But it would be ridiculous if you look at these sports shows and sport television things and don't see the racial bias in it. Ja Morant is very clear evidence of what go on when it comes to black athletes making mistakes and white athletes making mistakes. However, like I said, I'm not defending Ja. I'm not enabling Ja Morant when it comes to the situation as to why he got suspended. He deserved a suspension. He gonna serve the suspension. But just think about this the next time one of the white knights go crazy off the field or something. Or next time one of the white knights do something ridiculous that you don't stand for. Because I understand it already. Listen, these sports is ran by white men. You got white fans. They always gonna look at these athletes and say that could be my brother, my dad, my son, my daughter, and all this type of shit. I get it. I get it. But my opinion remains the same. Something got to be done about this ridiculous racial bias in the media, in sports media. Obviously, it's going on in every media, but this shit is just ridiculous. I'm looking at people paint Ja Morant as just like this criminal at this point. What is Ja Morant doing that was so much more detrimental to his league? Not talking about the punishment, just the perception of it based off of what these other dudes done before. Because I would say Riley Cooper made the NFL look worse than what Ja Morant made it. Because there's a lot of white dudes out there who love brandishing guns and shit. And I understand when people say, well, it's people who do this all the time. Yeah, but they also don't play for the NBA. I'm just trying to make sure people understand I'm not enabling Ja Morant. I got to keep making that very evident because I don't like it when people do that shit either. If we cannot hold each other accountable, then we have a problem. At some point in time, we have to hold each other accountable. If I was to go off on a topic and I started to feel like I was actually becoming, sounding a little, I'm not racist, so it's kind of hard to say that. But if I was going a little too hard on white people, where the ends didn't justify the means, and you can make a legitimate argument, man, it kind of feel like he being racist, not instructional or trying to teach or something like that, then I would hope you could correct me. But if you then corrected me or brought it to my attention, and then I just go off on a rampage like, oh, you ain't trying to, then we have a problem. Because then that means, as human beings, we cannot even take constructive criticism or correction. Or now I understand it. All constructive criticism ain't good. You shouldn't take all of it. Yada yada yada. We ain't talking about that type. But that being said, I appreciate you for joining me on another episode of Kicking It With Saint. Tell somebody you fuck with them. Tell somebody you love them. You can be anything in this world. Choose to be kind to somebody today. Like, subscribe, share. Saint out.
Don't let the minutia of people distract us. This is the last year in the NAL. Next year we going to the AFL. A lot of owners around here got this type of money to even be in this league, so let's get that clear. A lot of naysayers around here, I've been seeing a lot of players chip chat about me. You think I care what the NAL players say about me?
I got the moves like hot sauce. Lil' mama taking the top off. I'm laying down getting topped off. After this, you know she getting knocked off. I know she loving the money, so I keep on thumbing and thumbing. She say she horny when she taking shots, so I keep them coming and coming. Now I'm putting dick in her tummy, scoop her up like I'm raking her something. You would think shawty ran track, the way that she running and running. You getting dumber and dumber, you out here chasing the bone. After she finished from giving me dome, the Uber is taking her home. Tight.